Boy, you're short. You're picking on my height. I'm going to go right back at you. Be ready, Rebecca. Thanks so much, Rebecca. Really is wonderful to be here. And when we think of connections, we think of collaboration, we think of working for the future. Our speaker, Chip Jenkins, is simply amazing at all of those. Chip has been a collaborator and friend since he arrived as superintendent of the Grand Teton National Park and Rockefeller Parkway, 310,000 acres, but who's counting? And I know you have to count on a daily basis, so appreciate that, Chip. But Chip has a long history of being collaborative, of working with NGOs, working with communities, working with indigenous peoples, all associated with a number of national parks. He's worked in Mount Rainier as a national park as superintendent, and in North Cascades as superintendent. You've done a stint in Denver, I know, in the office there as well. And we're just so thrilled to have him here in Grand Teton National Park. And he's going to set the stage for us by giving us a sense of the challenges and opportunities. I'm proud to call him a friend and collaborator. Please help me in welcoming Chip Jenkins.
Thanks, John. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, John. Rebecca, thanks so much for having us here. So, you know, if you were paying attention to the agenda, you'd be expecting Cam Shawley, my good friend. There's some things going on in the world that require Cam to stay up north in Yellowstone. But I do just want to acknowledge, I think we all who live and work in the Greater Yellowstone, we are very, very fortunate to have Cam as the superintendent of Yellowstone. Can't imagine a better leader, not just for Yellowstone, but also for the entire Greater Yellowstone ecosystem. Cam's just an outstanding individual and professional who cares for, brings so many different people together, particularly working on this topic. And wish he were here because I'd be getting to drink coffee. The second thing I just want to say is follow up on Jake and Temple, but thank you for having us here and putting all of the work to bring us together. Because in my lifetime, I don't know that would have happened in the past. I think we really all owe a thanks to these funders who have put forward their treasure in order to be able to support this work and bring us together. Because I would again say that in my lifetime, there was a period of time where I don't think we would have seen the hoteliers who are providing lodging tax to the Travel and Tourism Bureau, or a free market-driven conservation solutions getting together with conservation organizations to be able to host a conference like this. That's because in my lifetime, we used to operate dumps where we fed grizzly bears. In my lifetime, we almost lost the bald eagle because of pesticides. In my lifetime, Teton County was considered one of the most impoverished counties in the United States. In my lifetime, we did everything that we could to make sure that wolves were killed. In my lifetime, peregrine falcons were not here in the Tetons. In my lifetime, we used to think of the parks as needing to have walls around them that we would defend as vigorously we could to prevent interaction with things that were going on outside the park. In my lifetime, the population of Teton County has quadrupled. In my lifetime, we wrapped up a $1 billion effort that started in the early 1950s called Mission 66 to build a massive amount of infrastructure in national parks, including Grand Teton, where we built the campgrounds, the lodging, the picnic areas, housing, 150 miles of trail to create a recreational infrastructure to be able to help support a tourism economy. In fact, actually, in my lifetime, there was a low-interest loan that was provided to Jackson Hole Mountain Resort to be able to build the tram to the summit of the Rendezvous Mountain in order to be able to spur economic development around the ski industry. Park Service at the same time was directed to build a trail up Granite Canyon to be able to provide a summer activity of hiking up the trail and riding the tram down. In my lifetime, the Interagency Grizzly Bear Study Team says that we now have an ecosystem that is full of bears. So full, in fact, that a few years ago, we had 399 and her 4 cubs caught on video walking through the Jackson Hole Police Department's parking lot. In my lifetime, trumpeter swans population are back. In my lifetime, peregrines are back here. Wolves are on the landscape. In my lifetime, we have, thanks to some people in this room, we have relearned what indigenous people knew for thousands of their lifetimes, that animals need to be able to move on this landscape, and that we need to be able to work across boundaries to be able to support this ecosystem. In my lifetime, we have the federal government recognized that the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem is a thing. It's not a collection of 3 National Park Service units, 7 different forests, 3 different wildlife refuges. In my lifetime, we've come to recognize that actually the Yellowstone ecosystem at 22 million acres, 15 million is federal ownership, 7 is private ownership. In my lifetime, we've come to realize that while all of the discussions and debates, hard-fought conservation wins, has led us to a place where we really realize that we owe an enormous debt of gratitude to private property owners, to people who have working lands. Because if it was not for the things that are going on, the decisions that people are making on private property, we would not have an ecosystem full of grizzly bears. We would not have wolves on the landscape. We would not have bald eagles that have returned to this place. In my lifetime, we have made enormous investments at the federal, local, state, and NGO levels. Those ecosystems have translated into arguably some aspects of this ecosystem being substantially healthier than they were 50 years ago, going from 175 grizzly bears in the heart of Yellowstone to over 1,000 now, literally in downtown Jackson. Those massive investments in terms of restoring habitat, restoring wildlife on this ecosystem has also translated into investments in terms of supporting millions and millions of people coming and visit. Between Grand Teton and Yellowstone, we're probably pretty close to 9 million people who come and visit this place every year. People who come from all over the world to be inspired by this landscape as a result of those investments. And I think in my lifetime, we are coming to grips with those investments do not guarantee the future. They do not guarantee that we will continue to have grizzly bears or wolves or clean water or world-class fisheries or affordable housing or schools that we want our kids to go to or quality healthcare. In my lifetime, we've come to realize that when we're talking about a healthy ecosystem, it's not just about wildlife populations. It's about making sure that Cheyenne, who works for Wyoming Game and Fish, that her kids have a quality of life here, right? In my lifetime, we've come to understand that the concept of a healthy ecosystem is far more complex than just population dynamics of ungulates. And that investment in that learning, that investment in that restoration, that investment in people coming here to be able to feed their souls by what they're able to experience is not guaranteed of what we will have in 5, 10, or 50 years. It's going to take continued hard work. It's going to take continued investments, investments of creativity, intellectual capital, money, time, energy, political will, in order to be able to both hold on to what's part of the last best place, but to continue to strive to be able to make this better. So if you bear with me for a second, actuarial tables, I think, say that the average lifespan of an American is somewhere around 84, 85 years old. 84, 85 years old. So would everybody who is 42 and younger please stand up? Thank you. Stay standing. So you're, God willing, you're halfway or more, or you have more than half of your life ahead of you. And so think about what has happened in your lifetime so far, and think about what is in front of you. How are you going to spend your time? How are you going to spend your energy in terms of contributing to the investments that have been made that I've experienced in my lifetime? But everybody who's 62 and younger, nope, stay standing. Everybody who's 62 and younger, please stand up. Yeah, so according to the actuarial tables, we have 22, 23 years left. How are we going to spend those couple of decades in relationship to this place and the work that we're going to be doing and reflecting on the things that have been done for all of us? All right? So you can sit down. I'm not going to embarrass everybody. But I just think it's important to think about is you all have done something remarkable. You are giving of your time, arguably the most precious thing that you have, to show up for today and tomorrow. And I think that thinking a little bit about not just where we have come in my lifetime or in your lifetime, but using the next 2 days and what we're about to learn, but in opportunities for discussion about how we want to spend the next decades in terms of building on the investments of the past so that we have this place, what's best about this place into the future. All right? Thanks, everybody. I think we have a few minutes if anybody wants to ask a hard question. Anybody? Or we'll go to coffee. There we go, up front.
Thanks so much, Chip. You talked about some of the great challenges that this landscape has faced and in many ways has made remarkable progress on. As you look forward to, say, the next lifetime, somebody being born today, what are the great challenges that you anticipate that that maybe are daunting that we have to face going forward?
Yeah, I think there are people, people in this room have been generous with their time in terms of helping me learn about that. Folks like Albert Summers and Arthur Middleton is amongst other folks. And Rob, I'm doing this for you. So if you think about the Greater Yellowstone Ecosystem, 23 million acres. And if you think about it as my flesh is the federal lands, the 15 million acres. And this interstitial space is the 7 million acres of private land. What goes on this interstitial space is the conservation challenge for the next 10 or 20 years. And I think that the challenge that we have is for over 100 years, private property owners have been active participants in terms of conservation for this ecosystem. And as we are at a time where particularly many large tracts of land are faced with kind of a generational change in ownership, how can we work together to thank, reward, incentivize those people and those families in order to be able to continue doing the good conservation work that they have done that has gotten us to where we are today. Because if you think about it, right, that interstitial space, right, it's actually some of the most precious habitat. It's the place where water flows. It's where animals want to be in the winter, or where they want to, where they need to move through either diurnally or seasonally. So I think the work and both having a better understanding of this interstitial space and the relationship to it, but also, frankly, we have to figure out new tools. The tools that were created in the 60s and the 70s to be able to try to promote conservation are not necessarily the tools that there will be public acceptance for using in the 2030s. We need, as we're a quarter of the way through the 21st century, we need 21st century tools for 21st century conservation challenges. And that's what I hope gatherings like this, particularly when you're bringing together folks from the legal profession, from funders, with wildlife biologists, indigenous knowledge, policy folks. We need to be having, frankly, we need to be having way more meetings of this interdisciplinary type than just the Wildlife Society getting together or the legal profession together. What you are doing in terms of bringing together these different disciplines to be able to have thought-provoking conversations and argument is gives me a great deal of hope. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, so there are different ways that people measure it, but generally it's 22 million acres, about 15 million is federal, and about 7 million, roughly, is private. Yeah. Good. Thanks so much, everybody, for your time.